If you keep calling yourself antisocial, here's what happens. You stop replying. You skip events. You stop taking small social risks. 5 years later, you look up and realize there are no new names in your phone. Only old ones fading. But what if the problem isn't your personality? What if it's your wiring? Picture this, you're at a party. Music, laughter, glasses clinking. Everyone seems animated. And inside you, quiet. Not peaceful, quiet, disconnected quiet. You scan the room and think, why do I feel nothing? That question can shape your identity. But what if the numbness isn't emptiness? What if it's overload? Imagine a glass wall between you and everyone else at that party. You hear tone shifts. You notice who laughs too loudly, who avoids eye contact, who pauses half a second before answering. Others skim. You pick up patterns. That comes at a cost. Brain scans show that some people's social circuits light up more during interaction. In plain terms, your emotional radar turns on fast and stays on. Dr. Elaine Aron estimates roughly 15–20% of people fit a highly sensitive profile. Not fragile, not dysfunctional, just wired to process more input more deeply. Think of a microphone with the gain turned up. It captures whispers clearly. It also distorts in noisy rooms. So when you leave an event drained, it may not be because you dislike people. It may be because your internal processor has been running multiple emotional tabs at once. When the input exceeds capacity, the system protects itself. It dims. That dimming feels like numbness. What you've been calling emptiness may be a system protecting itself from excess. The shutdown you feel may be protective, not defective. Here's the fork in the road. Every time you call yourself antisocial, you reinforce a smaller identity. Every time you say, I may be wired for depth, you reinforce a different future. Same trait. Different path. Now let's make this practical. Instead of labeling yourself bad socially, run a simple audit after your next social event. Draw 2 columns. Column A, when did I feel numb or disconnected? Column B, what was I actually noticing? Tone shifts. Inconsistencies, someone forcing enthusiasm. Subtle tension. If column B fills quickly, you're not empty. You're saturated. Without structure, deep processing turns into rumination. With structure, it becomes insight. That difference determines whether your depth shrinks your life or sharpens it. Many people get discouraged here. They look at their small circle and think, everyone else has more friends, I must be doing something wrong. But the data tells a slower story. Jeff Hall's research suggests it takes roughly 200 hours of shared time to move from acquaintance to close friend. 200 hours. Closeness is accumulated, not discovered. If you've spent 30 hours with someone and feel distant, that's not failure. That's math. Here's another finding. In the Harvard Grant study, which followed participants for over 75 years, the clearest predictor of long-term well-being wasn't fame or income. It was relationship quality. Not how many people you knew. How deeply you knew them. Depth beats volume. That reframes the comparison game. Some people collect contacts. If your processing cost per interaction is higher, you will be selective. That selectivity can look like avoidance. Sometimes it is avoidance. Often it's energy management. The better question isn't, why don't I have 50 close friends? It's, where am I investing my 200 hours? Picture 2 people, sitting across from each other. As an invisible timer counts upward, trust builds like layered locks on a door. Each shared experience turns another key. If you want depth, you have to budget time for it. Otherwise, you'll wait for instant intimacy and conclude you're incapable of connection when it doesn't appear. So far, the pattern is clear: high input, high cost. Slow depth. Now let's look closer at sensitivity. If you fall into that 15–20% range, your nervous system tends to amplify stimuli. Crowded rooms, overlapping conversations, strong emotional undercurrents. They register intensely. Imagine being a deep-sea diver in a world of surface swimmers. You're built for pressure and nuance. Chaotic splashing feels disorienting. In a team meeting, most people focus on deadlines. You notice the hesitation before someone agrees. The forced smile, the shift in posture, when a certain name is mentioned. At a family dinner, everyone laughs. You feel the tension between 2 siblings. Nothing dramatic happens, yet you leave tired. That fatigue makes sense. When input is amplified, more data enters awareness. More data requires integration. Integration requires energy. When energy runs out, the brain lowers output. The dimmer switch again. Here's the anchor. Amplified input without regulation becomes overwhelm. Sensitivity is neutral. It's raw data. Character and skill determine what you do with it. Highly sensitive doesn't automatically mean kind. It doesn't automatically mean wise. It means you receive more signals. So sensitivity isn't the problem. Regulation is. Once you see that, you stop asking, "What's wrong with me?" and start asking, "How does my system work?" Structure matters here. I call it the energy calibration protocol. In short, 1. Decompress for 15 minutes after intense interaction and separate facts from assumptions. 2. Set a clear time or interaction limit before you arrive. 3. Share one small, honest layer in a chosen relationship and observe consistency over time. Simple structure prevents emotional overload. Decompression. Limits. Testing. That's calibration. For your case, the step is simple. Protect energy without using protection to avoid growth. Here's the subtle danger. Protection and avoidance feel the same in the moment. Both reduce exposure, both lower anxiety short term. Long term, they diverge. One preserves energy for meaningful connection. The other reinforces isolation. 5 years of avoidance doesn't feel dramatic day to day, but it shrinks your world. If you decline an invitation, ask yourself, did this preserve my energy for something aligned, or prevent potential discomfort? That question reveals the pattern. Now let's talk about independence. Imagine 2 people alone on a Friday night. One feels peaceful reading, resting, content. The other says, "I don't need anyone," but checks their phone every 10 minutes, hoping someone reaches out. Research on internal stability suggests some individuals can generate calm and worth from within. That strength, stability feels grounded. Detachment feels guarded. When internal validation is strong, you don't chase approval. You evaluate alignment. You think, do I enjoy this person? Not, do they approve of me? That shift matters. But if I don't need people becomes, I won't risk needing people. The identity shrinks again. Independence should expand your options, not eliminate them. Choice is power, but only if you choose. Now we need to talk about trust patterns. Sometimes the numbness isn't sensitivity. It's protection learned early. Research on trust development suggests early inconsistent experiences can shape long-term relational expectations. If openness once led to unpredictability, your nervous system learned vigilance. It built locks, not because you're broken, but because you adapted. Picture a door with layered locks. Each reliable interaction removes one. Each betrayal adds another. Calibration means asking, is this lock based on current evidence or outdated memory? You don't remove all locks. You update them, test, observe, adjust. So far, we've covered 5 traits that can look like social dysfunction from the outside. Deep processing. Quality over quantity. Heightened sensitivity. Internal stability. Trust calibration. Each can become a strength. Or a shield. Depth can be your shield or your foundation. One protects you from the world. The other helps you build one. If you use sensitivity to justify withdrawal, your world gets smaller. If you use it to read rooms, resolve conflict, create meaningful work, and invest 200 deliberate hours into a few relationships, your world gets deeper. Remember this, your sensitivity is not the cage. Avoidance is. 5 traits. 1 choice. Shield or foundation. Comment which one you've been using and what it's cost you. If this reframed something, share it with someone who feels alone in crowded rooms. What feels like numbness might be a nervous system doing its job too well. Calibrated, that same system can become a strong relational advantage.